Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Hope Boykin. I am a dark-skinned black woman. I have a very close haircut, and I'm in my living room, two windows letting in a little bit of light and tulips. I am so overwhelmed to be here, but also very happy to be able to share with you today. Now, you've chosen to be here to see and to hear me talk about my take on today's keyword and motivation and share my thoughts and ideas toward this so very important topic. But before we can begin, I just have to ask, can you believe this? Can you believe where we are right now? Every day I log on to this computer, to Skype or Zoom, and honestly, I ask, what do we do now? So that is the really big question. What do we do now? Now that we are forced to find ways to make, to create, to continue, although we're not the same as before. So we have always found ways to connect, and currently we are constantly making exchanges in this manner. But what do we do now, and how will we envision our future? Well, I'm thrilled to be back to be with you here again at Lincoln Center. The last couple of years, it was called Lincoln Center Education Forum, Summer Education Forum, and I am so thrilled because I love Lincoln Center Activate. I love the name Activate. It says so much and means so much to where we are now. When I was invited back to share with you, I felt I knew what I wanted to share, and I knew what to expect because I was used to seeing the audiences. I knew what the cohort was like, and I'd been here before. So I was excited to share what's next. And then what's next is funny because my title, my topic, the thing that I needed to talk about now, what's been leading my thoughts is really, what do we do now? Now, this is not the first time that I'm conferring with my thoughts about tomorrow and making plans to be, what's going to happen. But my life has changed, and I firmly believe this is exactly what we should be talking about. But I can't pretend these questions aren't serious. What do we do now that change has forced us into a new and very uncharted and unprecedented time? This time has also forced growth, but it doesn't feel much like growth. I mean, I think of blooming and blossoming and blossoming, but it's really gnawing at me. It's straining, it's pressing me down, and I feel quite heavy. But wait, I guess that too is growth. Now, I've been in the dance industry for over 26 years, and as a professional, dance requires the body to be used as an instrument to tell stories, lifting and encouraging hearts, guiding young souls of aspiring artists. I've been in one company for 20 years, rehearsing 30 to 40 hours a week, 5-week performance seasons, 8 performances a week, endless touring around the world with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and I love it. But I can't say it hasn't taken a toll, not just on my body, but on my system as a whole. I've learned a lot and I've grown so much, but it hasn't been easy. It wasn't easy. And well, here's a little story. I always seem to say, here's a little story, but here we go. In late December of 2018, I had an ankle surgery. 4 months later, recovering, rehab, studio time, and missing more than half of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater's U.S. tour, I rejoined the company on April 1st, proudly making it to the end of my 19th season. But with intense recovery behind me, I was now determined to start and finish my 20th and final season with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. I wanted and was determined to be as strong in body as I felt in mind. Now, I said 25 years in one profession, 20 years in one company had taken a toll, but I was determined. And over the course of the next few months, one thing or another continued to ail me, but I'm proud to say I fought it, the good fight. In my 20th year with Ailey began, and I made it through the rehearsals and international tour. We got to visit places I had never been. I was like, how can I go to a new place after 20 years? But I was able to visit Amsterdam and Rotterdam. The company continued to prepare for the New York City Center season, the annual 5-week season that happens at City Center every year. And I knew that I wanted to announce my retirement. Now, in mid-November, I made this whole video. It was super emotional and all of the things. And adding to the morning I was feeling about leaving the love of my life, I knew I needed to go to the doctor because the pains were starting to really affect me. And I got my test results back, and an old but new injury, it was the knee this time, was happening again. I was hurting. But I remembered that I was determined. And with many calls to my physical therapist, to doctors, to the artistic staff at Ailey, I was determined and I had a plan. My plan was called Just Get to May. Just get to May, May 10th to be specific, Mother's Day, the final performance of my 20th season. Performing at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, I could see it. It was down the way, but I could see it and I could taste it, as they say. Now, I had friends flying in. I planned to buy a bulk load of tickets. There was a dinner party planned. I even requested and was granted the ability to perform 2 of my favorite works. And I was documenting everything. I wanted to document my final year because I knew my story would feed someone, some young artist who knew they wanted to follow in my footsteps. So I had a plan. I was hurting, but I was determined. Now, part of the plan for tour was to wake up every day, ice my knee, take a bath, work out, eat well, be positive, record, film, document, perform, ice again, bed, repeat, all of that. And during the entire time we were away from my final domestic tour, our U.S. tour, I had that regimen. And my mentality was just get to May. And did I mention I was hurting? But it didn't matter, just get to May. That's where I was sitting. Well, I didn't get to May. Not in the way that I wanted, this wasn't my plan, and I was very clear with my plan, and it made me angry. I even looked up and I was like, are you kidding me? But not only did I not make it to the final performance of my final season, none of us did. None of us did. Now, it caused my eyes to slowly open to the fact that I hadn't realized before, that I could be disappointed and say, as long as I am prepared to get up and move on, it was all right to have a pity party for just a few minutes. That's all I gave myself, or at least that's what I told myself. I needed to be prepared to get up and move along anyway. But where was I to go? What was I going to do? I was mourning the loss. I was mourning the end of my final performance. But the reality was that this was not just happening to me. This was not just happening at Alvin Ailey. This was not just happening in New York. Everyone was experiencing this. This was happening to the world. And then guilt started to sink in. How dare you, Hope Boykin? Who are you to feel this way? Who are you to complain about losing your last dance when lives are lost left and right? But it's really what I felt. But then what? I mean, our world was on pause. It was a forced pause, an intermission. We were told to isolate, to stay inside, to shelter in place. Shelter in place and do what? Those of us who are fortunate enough to have room to shelter in place. What do we do now? And what is isolation going to teach me? What has isolation taught me? How do we do the thing that we were used to doing? What do we do now? What do we do now? Today, I've decided it's really okay. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to hate, to wait. It's really okay not to like the here, right now, in this now, right now. The thoughts that keep surrounding me are those pressing toward this, their true isolation. Alone is what I sometimes feel, but I'm more alone now than I've ever been, pressed up against something I've never known. When it was a choice, alone, I was bold, independent. Now that it's forced, I weaken at my everyday longing of laughter and smiles and hugs from friends, and nothing comes. Not in my way, the way that I want, the way I want now that I can't have it all my way. And touch. Wow. Touch. Touch is more important than I have ever understood before. You've touched me, audiences have shared. Thank you for what you do, they've also said. But what about now? What about me? What about my need? It feels selfish to say when so many are struggling and I'm really not, when so many are hurting and I am not, and when so many are dying but it's my truth and I'm sharing it, sharing my truth. It's my right to share and to say how I feel and then move on, taking the time I need to show and share the truth I have and then get up and move on and move toward what's next, except each day we wait to hear what's next for us and we just don't know how to increase faith at a time, make it grow larger for more than just me here, but them too, watching everything I do too, watching the world break and shed and cry, making me feel just how I feel, afraid to go outside, as if my weight has meaning, if my weight is met with weighted purpose, building a heart of strength to stand, to press up and onward toward a boldness only meant for me to share and make me an evolved plan. Even if I don't quite know I cannot let make me, stop me from being true to me. Is this to make you feel sorry for me? No. It's to let you know how you feel is no different from the person on the other side of this page, call, door, your neighbors down the hall, around the corner, everyone in every place, all experiencing some kind of this solitude and need for truth to escape. Today I've decided it's okay to feel this weight. It's really okay not to like the here and now, right now. I need to see the truth, experience lessons meant to move me forward and through. I need to see the truth, experience truth, lessons meant to move me forward and through. I need to see the truth, experience truth and lessons meant to move me forward and through. And to be afraid, it's really okay as long as I plan to stand anyway, to go anyway, and to move anyway, to do anyway, as long as I plan to stand, to go and to move and to do it all anyway, then it's okay. It's okay to feel. So this video was made as a virtual commission from Ballet X and the Guggenheim Virtual Works in Process. Now, working with Ballet X and performing at the Guggenheim in June was one of the very first activities planned directly after my retirement from Ailey. And when I say directly after, I really mean it. My final performance was supposed to be on Sunday, May 10th, on Mother's Day. And on Monday, May 11th, I was scheduled to travel to Philadelphia to begin rehearsals with Ballet X. I didn't want to miss a beat with what's next in my life plan, but we were in a new place with so much we didn't know. Being so unsure of what would happen with dance and the performing arts in general, not knowing how we would move forward was painful. But this project gave me hope, pun completely intended. So the schedule was set, and I was able to meet the dancers, Ashley and Savannah, who you saw on Zoom. We rehearsed, I gave them notes, I told them how I wanted them to film themselves, what settings to use on their camera. I called a good friend who's a musician and composer, Bill Lawrence, and asked if I could use some of his music for this project, and we started. And it was all new and all nerve-wracking, but I can say that if I didn't have the confidence of what was sitting in my resource closet, I may not have been able to find ways to keep working the way that I've been able to. You know, I had to start asking myself different questions. Okay, Hope, you have cameras, you have microphones, you have lights, and you've been studying filmmaking and editing. How are you going to use what you have? How are you going to let what you have and what you know move you forward? Adapting to this strange and definitely strange time is forcing me into a new place, into a new stage, the digital stage, and it does not feel normal. It's not normal, but here we are today. What is normal? Defined as expected, typical, standard, and the usual. But when I think about it, I absolutely would not write that down in my bio. Hope Boykin, born in Durham, North Carolina, is standard, typical, the usual. So why do we keep holding on to the thought of getting back to normal? I mean, I get it now. Please don't get me wrong. Everything I'm saying to you, I say to myself, and I say it on the hour. But it feels like normal is what we are using to hold yesterday so close. But yesterday is the past, and we shouldn't throw the past away. We need to know it and to move forward and to reference it for what we have accomplished. But we also need to confront it, to stand up to it. We need to change what didn't, what hasn't, and what isn't working. We need to find answers to questions we may not have dared to ask before. Normal can keep us stuck in time if we let it. But if we make note of what we had and take what we have, moving it forward, we will grow. And growing is key. Growing up, growing wide, expanding, increasing our individual and personal selves. And then with all of that, we are able to help others. We are helping them repurpose. We're helping them replanting as we are regrouping, as we are resetting, as we are rethinking, we develop new growth. And then we become the new harvest. Now, I was always taught that growing would hurt, growth would hurt. And I truly believe that some things must be torn down in order to be rebuilt with a more solid foundation. And discomfort is often, most often, intertwined with beauty, and we find at the end of our race. But isn't the satisfaction of a successful birth the crying of a newborn? What appears as pain is manifested as new life. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I am in no way saying discomfort and pain should be caused by others, especially as the eyes and minds have been forced, our eyes and minds have been forced to watch cruelty play out on posts on our little screens. My reference, though, is directly related to the personal push toward gains. So here's an example, and I believe this can explain it really well. A friend shared this with me, and I love, love, love this analogy. So when a person lifts weights who has never worked with, in, or around resistance training, and resistance training is the key, initially it is really hard. The body reminds the mind of the difficulty and toll it took in the form of soreness. Soreness to one who isn't used to it is the absolute worst. It's a give up, never again will I ever do whatever that was that caused that kind of pain kind of give up. But one who is determined and goes back to the gym for more resistance training finds that they're getting stronger. The initial amount of weight that they use becomes much easier to handle. And if their trainer is smart, or if the program they're following is designed well, then they will eventually increase the amount of weight used during each exercise. So the muscles are tested even further, often beyond what the client or the person who's following this exercise regimen thinks. The mind is again reminded of the difficulty of the workout as a result of the muscle soreness that follows, but this now starts to become a learned and understood part of the training. To gain strength, one must test our endurance, which is straining and testing of the muscles. A constant work of these muscles, straining and shredding and rebuilding, I keep saying straining, causes them to often look bigger and more defined, but what they also are is stronger. Those muscles can hold more weight for much longer because of the amount of work they have endured during the resistance training. I also like to think, especially now that I have put on all of these Corona calories, you are totally welcome to laugh. That's why I have on this loose-fitting dress, that I need to reset and start again, beginning again. But with that, what do I have at my disposal? What do I have around my house to help me start again? I need to create a new beginning, to start a new day. That doesn't mean throwing the old me away, but using what I already have in my resource closet to build on my foundation. Continuing to make space around my creative self, redefining and honing and using my strengths to make an even better me. Every situation is different, and walking into things is like having to take a seat and not really being sure what you'll be fed. I mean, what's around you, who's
around you? What can you see when there's really darkness, only darkness, but there's some light, some glow, some thought that maybe you can create the things that are around you. You can be who you want to be. Walking into situations make you say, okay, well, okay, now, okay, then, let's go. Let's go to the new place, the place that the heart is calling, the place that the mind says it's not sure, but you know there's a feeling, there's a thought, there's a way, there's a reaction, there's a compassion for you, for yourself and your own heart to stop and see that there's more love, more hope, more, yes, choose me, but okay, maybe not you, but I will love on all of the things that have become, all of the things that I can be, all of the things, whether you're with me or not, I will find my own path, my own fight, my own call, my own everything is for me. Everything is who I want to be. I will come up. I will drive out my madness and walk in this light down my path. It may be dark. It may be a little bit bumpy, but I've got it. I can see. I can go. I can walk. I can move. I can get to the end of whatever ending is. I can be all and more and even better me.
So I found hard drive on top of hard drive filled with pictures from tours and images of everything, even flowers, but not just flowers, the same flowers over and over. I realized I was working to find the perfect composition. And I've always been interested in writing, but I never called myself a writer because I was busy being a dancer. But the under the bed sweater box filled with journals and notebooks of words and phrases of living and writing in the same cadence and patterns that I do still today tell a different story. So while sitting on the telephone with one of my best friends, Matthew Rushing, who is now the Associate Artistic Director of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, I love saying that, together we were trying to understand how we were supposed to feel and what we were supposed to do after watching the death of George Floyd. We noted this very public demonstration of hate impacted so many because he was the man we all saw. This was the event we couldn't unsee. We found ourselves really struggling, and the more we spoke, the more we realized our outlets, our stage for protest and outrage was gone. We weren't in the position to dance it out as we normally would say, but then something had to happen. What were we going to do? We asked how we were going to get through this. We literally were just pining back and forth. And as we were talking, he gave me an idea. And I got up from the couch and I grabbed my computer. I sat at my desk and I started writing. And he could hear me typing and said, "What are you writing?" And I shared my progress with him. And the ideas just started to flow. I had no idea what his full intention was, or how it would end up turning out, but Matthew called a meeting with the dancers of Ailey and shared his ideas. And this is what we created. We are together, coming together. When we stand together, move together in this moment, we are pointing toward our ways to express and show truth and love. When patience slows and circumstances, hatred, try to pull us down, confusion creeps in, trying to mute our voices without knowing who we really are. But we are more than just what they think they see. So here it is, how we need to and must show you through our own eyes. We are witnesses, living in it and through it, and we were born from this. Our heritage, our past is built on a perspective some have skewed or tried to skew. But our train, this journey forward will not slow or stop. Our mission is to push, to learn, to lift, to teach, to encourage, to build, to carry, to support, to bridge, and to raise our communities. You, growing your hearts and feeding your souls. Our hearts hurt now. Yes, we are exhausted. Our hearts are tired now, weary and worn, but through it all, through it then more than 60 years ago, and through it now, we persevere, always moving, loving, creating, sharing, even with our heavy hearts. This is hard for you and all of us, but our path is set, and we are not holding back. We are not giving in. We will continue to share. Our voices ring loudly through our body's language. Our voices ring loudly through our body's language. Our voices ring loudly through our body's language. And when our hearts break, we get up. When our hearts break, we stand up. And when our hearts break, we dance. 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 Wow, I really miss those people. They're some of the most amazing dancers in the world, and I just got all choked up. But here we are. I am a dancer and a choreographer who likes to use a camera and who likes to write. At that moment, yesterday's ways weren't working. What we needed to do, since we didn't have what we were used to, was to truly shift. This wasn't a work to stay relevant. It wasn't on social media for views and likes, but it was a statement of truth we needed to share, our truth in our way. Yes, however, on various platforms with all of the dancers posting and people sharing and reposting, you've add up the eyes. It's been pretty incredible, the people who've seen We Dance, but more so the response from the young people who found that they needed to move, to dance as their platform to confronting their yesterday and then to make a new tomorrow. So now we are here. We start our new tomorrow. What does it look like? What does tomorrow look like? You know, I stopped calling it the new normal when people were saying that because I don't want it to be the new typical or the new usual. I've rebranded it to the newness, hashtag newness. And newness equals change. Newness is code for yesterday was cool, but without a new way of thinking, we might as well. Once we accept the newness is change, we must ask where change starts. And where does change start? Yes, be the change you wish to see in the world. I have no idea who said that, but I know that it's true. But change is tough, and it starts where we are, not where we were. Breathe in and breathe out and begin again and again and again if necessary. Change must be and will be taken and seen as a risk. And life to me is a risk worth taking, and I remind myself of this each day. And if we are to change, we must jump. We must leap. We must fly. And we must do all of those things in faith. And these action words, jump and leap and fly and change, are extremely important, not just in dance with movement, but in our approach to life in this newness. Now, something else is interesting. Um, Hold, still, stop, rest, wait are two all action words. And when I'm teaching classes to advanced-minded students, I often remind them that these words have breath and life in them, as well as pause. There's a real importance on learning how to sustain the energy. Outside of dance, I worry about these words though, because as artists, we can't stop and we should not stop moving. If we resign to wait too long, then we'll often be left behind. I mean, no one wants to go to a doctor that doesn't continue to build and study on what was learned years ago when they first graduated and left medical school. And the law is forever changing, which means lawyers must also read and remain updated with what new laws come into play. When we as a people, as a human race, stop moving, we truly stop. Our muscles atrophy, our mind slows. We are simply keeping ourselves from moving, and we're keeping ourselves from moving forward. But here's the catch, especially right now. Any motion, any movement at this time is forward motion. We just need to move. We need to move. Now, I have to remember that no one, absolutely no one has been here before. The playing field has been leveled. Our school-age kids are going through this pandemic and watching the social and racial unrest with the entire world. No one is immune from this, and how we decide to move forward will not only help us, but also teach us. The simple fact is we just don't know, and that's the part that's terrifying. But it also gives us room to hone and develop skills of things we never knew we loved or didn't realize we were capable of. If I had never taught a virtual dance class, the first time would have been awkward, and it was. It was extremely, I mean, everyone is on this delay, but during my second class, I had a bit more of an idea of how to connect with the students. I find I can share my music through Zoom, eliminating the lag on the students' end with what they hear. Next, I figure out I can share my screen to my television so I have a larger view of my students participating. And finally, I found and even just took a seminar on the software that I'm using today on my computer, which allows me to change scenes without running back and forth to the computer, to the phone, or the camera, which will change the view and perspective and hopefully give the people who are watching something interesting to look at. But if I'd waited and held tight or stopped completely, I wouldn't have gained the knowledge that I have right now, which has enabled me to teach in California, in upstate New York, in Houston, in London on Monday, in the next weeks in Washington, D.C. for my own program, the Kennedy Center Dance Lab, and here with you today, all from my living room, all live and all hope. I'm just really using that, aren't I? But now this is the new newness and where I'm feeling more and more comfortable because I'm finding parts of me that I'd suppressed, not for any reason except that I didn't allow them to grow because I was all focused on that thing that I really, really absolutely loved. But now I'm able to continue to use my love of dance and the art of dance to work and to share and to teach. So this is a new form of success. Knowing that I've already defined it as doing what you love, knowing what you love can sustain you in life. It's what I've deemed as success, but now I can add finding the ability to enjoy and thrive when life forces a change, when something unexpected comes calling, even in strained situations. So here we are, working and moving, living and breathing all on a digital stage, doing so many things I've been working toward without even realizing that my steps were already ordered. My preparation is providing opportunity. I am my most important investment, and I am worthy and I am worth it. And to be completely honest, had there been no quarantine and no intermission, I don't think I would be able to do or have some of these opportunities that I've been having now. And now that I'm called to tell the young artists I teach how to use this time to create, I want them to create with excellence. I'll tell them something like, don't just use your phone as a camera now. It's not enough. I want you to start thinking about your lighting, thinking about the composition of your shots. I want them to understand the angles and the lines and how to look their personal best for whatever their creative task is at hand, whatever that may be. What I know needs to be transferred to them, and I know that what I can share with them will help equip them so that they can grow and use all the resources that they can hold while realizing they have absolutely everything they already need for success. So, back to the question, what do we do now? Well, the answer is we keep it going. We keep moving. We keep listening. We keep asking, we keep searching, we keep finding, we keep growing, we keep making, we keep sharing. We need to keep trusting, and we must absolutely keep creating. Now, before I take a pause and sit down and get to know you a little bit better, I wanted to share one more piece that I've been working on since we've been on this world intermission. This work began because I was doing a lot of work in this newness, and instead of just trying to understand exactly what I wanted to work with, I guess I should just tell you that I'm an artist in residence at the University of Southern California, Gloria Kaufman School of Dance. And the students, as we had to continue through our quarantine, were feeling all kinds of ways, their emotions, it was all new. And I wanted to give them something more than what they were doing on a day-to-day basis. So I asked them to write something. I gave them a writing assignment. I shared some rules and regulations and the starting points, and tried to encourage them to create a new expression which would serve as the soundtrack to their lives. After they'd written something, they would transfer it and switch it with another classmate, and then they would all choreograph to it. It was a whole wonderful thing. And the videos that they created and the work they created was just wonderful. But I couldn't just ask them to create without creating something for myself. And what I created started with 2 words. And almost 5 months later, I'm still working on the final version of this piece. But these sentiments continue to fuel my desire for the future, what we can see. So here we go. Conscious quiet, healing revealed, breaking through, knowing less and less, finding what I cannot see, seeing my truth and me. Conscious quiet, disabled growth, pressing over, through, and under norms, cracking within our loudest silence, calming my inside storm. Conscious quiet. Conscious quiet, searching more for less, peeling back layers of questions too, doubt, blooming, knowing I can, creating possibilities, digging my way out. Conscious quiet, is this the truth or no? What I see, I can only believe. Reaching beyond myself this day, open arms, heart, spirit is willing to receive. Conscious quiet. Conscious quiet, here we are, wanting free, moving with all might, building for a future. I, you, we are worth the fight, right? Conscious quiet, I just don't know what I think is often proven wrong. And none of this life is what we plan. Making do, the years are short, these days feel so long. Conscious quiet, breaking down, breaking through, looking high above. The only way this quiet breaks with us is with strength, full, love, conscious quiet. Conscious quiet. Conscious quiet, I stand alone, timing unsure at all, ticking away. Not all, but feels like most. Light will soon pierce, some say, a new day. Conscious quiet, needing climb, needing training, they come, healing, they go. My ins and outs, tears as laughter cries, my daily downs, ups and valleys low. Conscious quiet, so loud, so sharp, surrounding this quiet chaos like hearing a dropped pin. Some days I wake late wondering, oh my gosh, wondering, what time does this here show end? Conscious quiet, what do I do? Okay 1 minute, then next a stirring mind. Embracing a solitude for now, even now passes and runs out of time. Conscious quiet, no real fear, many are lost, losers never seem to win. Out there is like a war, warlike, battling on. I stare from here, wanting freedom again. Conscious quiet, but am I restricted? No. These random thoughts fly in and I question what is free. But it's not the rules that we abandon. Aren't these choices chosen by me? So yes, conscious quiet. On and on I go, moment to moment, changing from yes to no to yes to please. Consciously, I wish days of calm and peace, quietly for us all. Please, Lord, put us at ease. Conscious, quiet, healing, revealed, disabled, growth, searching more for less. Is this my truth? Here we are, I just don't know. Breaking down, I stand alone, needing to climb. It's still loud and sharp, but what do I do? No real fear, just my unsettled heart. Conscious, quiet. Am I restricted? Again, I say no. But what is free? What is free as I keep going on and on and on. On I go, conscious, quiet. My healing will be revealed. What I cannot or have not seen, knowing less and less, but forced to look now, finding that these choices are truly made by me. Conscious, quiet. So listen, I hate to complain. I have so much breath and life in me. A place to roam, to find myself, time to think and purge and gain new knowledge for whatever suits me and my ability. To search and fill hours and minutes with thought. Some have a mere fraction of all or any, or some none of these. Who am I to claim to want to be free when I'm the jailer confining my own mind, heart, and spirit? This medicine I don't really want but need. Refueling, healing, and clearing a path for my truth and for me. Knowing less and less, standing, building, growing, facing faith. Knowing my truth in me is really all the hope I have left. Conscious quiet.